This is a very scary parasite. But it is a boy's best partner. It even became his right-hand man. They drive together, shower together, and fight together. This parasite gave a schoolboy extraordinary powers. It can speak human language within a day. It can even change shape at will, like a sharp blade, or transform into a bow and arrow. In addition, this parasitic beast is also a good assistant for travel, and also quickly helps the boy become a boss in the school. This high school student, the main character of today's story, is Shinichi Izumi. One morning, Shinichi and Satomi went to school. Shinichi always felt that there was something strange about his right arm. Even some actions he did it unconsciously. When he got home, he was worried that he would get sick. He quickly checked the information on the internet when suddenly an eye grew out of his right arm. Just a few seconds later it was gone. Then he took out the knife to check. He thought about cutting it open to see what was inside. Suddenly something monstrous appeared and deformed his arm. It turns out that on Earth there are countless parasites that have appeared in the ocean, and last night they were floating on the water. Then they quietly crawl ashore and sneak into people's houses. Waiting for humans to sleep, they will crawl into their ears. They will eat the human brain and control the body, living as a parasite and completely mastering that body. Their true form has many tentacles, and can be flexibly deformed. This is an extremely dangerous parasitic beast. Shinichi was very lucky because he always had a habit of wearing headphones when he slept, so this parasite could not get into his ears. Just when he was about to enter his nostrils, Shinichi woke up and caught it. This caused it to change plans. Very quickly, it went straight into his arm. He quickly used the rope to tie his own arm, preventing it from moving inside his body. At this time, his mother suddenly came in. She saw that her son was acting strangely. Seeing that, he quickly explained to his mother. She then untied the rope, and told him that nothing really happened. She thought her son was sleepwalking, then quickly left the room. At this point Shinichi doesn't know what's going on with him. He also quickly didn't care about it. Because Shinichi handled the matter promptly, so the monster could only infiltrate his right arm. It didn't affect his brain or his later life. But when the parasite existed in his body, it had a remarkable learning ability. It only took a day to learn the human language, and named itself Miji. As for Shinichi, he just wanted to have a right arm like before. He negotiated with Miji, even suggesting that he want to amputate his arm to get rid of Miji. Miji says, "I have become your right hand now, completely become a part of your body, and there is no way it can be separated. If Miji leaves then things will not be as he thought, then he will become a disabled person. That wouldn't be good for him and Miji. What we need to do now is stay together for a long time." And he is forced to live in harmony with Miji. Miji begged Shinichi to let him go to the library to learn about human culture, and took him to observe and train for combat. Shinichi just sighed because his right arm was smarter than himself. Throughout the day he and the monster communicated with each other, but not all parasites did the same. Most parasites see humans as food. Many people in the city have had their bodies taken over by the parasite. There are still a lot of people that they haven't discovered yet. At this time, Miji detected a wave with the same frequency as his own. Miji is eager to know what his fellow humans' parasites on other humans look like, so he invites Shinichi to go with him. Very quickly they found and snuck into a house. Right now, Miji's fellow was eating a cook's brain. When they saw Miji, they enthusiastically invited him to stay for a meal. After that, they quickly changed their expressions because they saw that Miji had not completely controlled Shinichi. They were very surprised by that. At this point they want Miji to have complete control of Shinichi, or let them take care of him. At this point, Miji worries that changing the parasite host might cost Shinichi his life. Seeing that he could not advise Miji, the cook decided to attack the two. At this point, Miji used human combat skills. He had finally finished dealing with his fellow man. Shinichi was shocked to see everything. This was the first time he witnessed the brutality of the parasite. Shinichi grew up in a single mother family, so he always lacked a sense of security. He always wanted to ask his mother about it. But when he saw the scar on her right hand, he thought of the mother who had worked so hard to raise him. He was afraid that his mother would worry, so he did not say it. Then the TV news had a lot of people die for unknown reasons. Shinichi feels uneasy and complains to Miji. Miji thinks that humans eat beef, pork, etc. Now, Parasite eats human again. He also said that compared to the cruelty of humans, the Parasite was far behind. When they arrived at school, the chemistry teacher had a different view of Shinichi and Miji. Realizes that Shinichi is the same type as her eyes are very different. Ryoko Tamaya led Shinichi to an aquarium. They saw two other parasites here. The one in the police uniform is Mr. A, and the other is high school student Hideo Shimada. The three of them are joining forces to create a network. They really hope that Shinichi can join them. Their sole purpose is to conceal the fact that the parasite has eaten humans. The head of the organization is Tamaya, who is an intelligent person and is in charge of intelligence. Because this person is currently a teacher, with this title her operation is relatively smooth. During the past time, she had experience, so it was easy to negotiate with the boy. As a teacher and all in the interest of the species, she wanted to verify if the parasite had the ability to reproduce. Tamaya wants that parasites exist side by side with humans, in order to study the reason for their birth in the world. With the combination of Shinichi and Miji, as long as they find a way, the parasites and humans will be able to live together. Shinichi didn't want to be with the parasite, so he firmly refused. Seeing the boy refuse, she didn't know what to say. What stunned Shinichi was that with just a light hair, it cut off a pole here. They warned Shinichi not to interfere in their affairs in the future. After the three of them left, Miji felt that this teacher was not simple, so he reminded Shinichi to be careful in the days to come. After returning home, Shinichi sat on the dining table and pondered. The mother felt her son was a little different lately, so she asked him, "What happened recently?" However, when he saw the scar on his mother's right hand, his heart felt sorry for her, so he rushed out. The scar on his mother's hand was created by Shinichi when he was a child. Because he wasn't paying attention, he almost hit a pan of oil. In order to protect her son, she injured herself. Every time Shinichi sees his mother's scar, he thinks of the hard work his mother did to raise him. From there, as he passed the pharmacy where his mother worked, he just stood outside the door looking at his mother and said nothing. At this point, Mr. A saw him. Thinks that a half-human, half-beast like Shinichi is a piece of trash, not worth living in the world. It's best to die. After saying that, he began to transform. When Miji saw this, he knew that they would have to duel. So the two got into a fight. Fortunately, Miji learned many things in the book, so he began to plot. At this time the policeman was completely controlled by the parasite. When attacking, they are just creatures without a brain, unable to use all that humans have. In contrast, Shinichi is conscious and has a logical way of thinking. He teamed up with Miji to fight this brainless person. Shinichi took advantage of the ongoing battle between the two monsters. Very quickly he used a steel pipe to stab Mr. A. In the end, their plan worked. The host is dead, and the parasite is exhausted. Seeing this scene, Shinichi was in a panic. He could only run home. Miji comforts him and says it's just bodies that have been invaded by parasites. After a tumultuous day, Shinichi finally got to bed, but he couldn't sleep. At this moment Miji noticed that his fellow was here. They went out to see the situation and found that Shinichi's mother had just returned home. Miji feels that there is something wrong with Shinichi's mother. Apparently his mother has the same brainwaves as Mr. A. It turned out that Mr. A was not dead but was seriously injured. By chance, Shinichi's mother was passing by. The mother came to see Mr. A's situation, and at that moment she was infected with the parasite. The mother at this time is Mr. A. Now he was preparing to take revenge on the two of them. Shinichi couldn't accept that his mother had been taken over by parasites, which made him very sad. The mother in front of her didn't want to hear Shinichi's words. She immediately transformed into a large tentacle, attacking his body directly. Shinichi was stabbed through his body, his heart beat wildly, and fell to the ground. Mr. A finally got his revenge. Then he turned to leave. Miji had left his arm and entered Shinichi's heart. Miji uses his cells to regenerate Shinichi's damaged cells. After 2 days, Shinichi woke up in a pool of blood. When his heart was regenerated using Miji's cells, both Miji and him underwent some special changes. That is, Miji needs to sleep for an hour a day, and Shinichi becomes cruel. Shinichi's girlfriend is Satomi Murano. Seeing that Shinichi didn't go to school for several days, she specially visited him. Seeing a fallen dog on the street, Shinichi did not hesitate to throw it in the trash. At this moment, Murano looked directly into Shinichi's eyes. Feeling this was not the Shinichi of the past, she turned her back and left. Shinichi didn't mind that. He started wandering around to find the culprit. He spotted Takeshi Hirakawa, a parasite, giving an outdoor presentation. They enthusiastically talked about philosophy and called for votes for the upcoming election. These monsters are really crazy. People now suspect the workers have been infected. They finally figured out how to recognize them. Just pluck a hair from a suspicious target. If that hair is constantly moving, that person is already under the control of a parasite. At this time, Shimada was invited to the class to model for the students of the art course. During the break, a girl pulled out his hair. He realized that he had been exposed, and could only kill everyone to keep his identity secret. He instantly transformed into the form of a monster. In a panic, Satomi picked up a bug spray, which she then threw at Shimada. Shimada's head suddenly smoked, his body lost control, and attacked wildly. The girl who had pulled out Shimada's hair, her body had been split in half when he was slashed by him. Satomi was scared. She quickly went into the closet to hide. At this time, Shinichi is at SCH. LOL, he doesn't know what's going on, still calmly talking to Tamaya. When he heard the noise, he immediately rushed over. By this time, the students' bodies were scattered all over the place. Luckily Satomi was saved in time, but Shimada stopped them in the hallway. Tamaya immediately ran to see Shimada. With a cold face, she threw the homemade bomb and turned away. At this time, Shinichi is like a Superman. He hugs Satomi from the third floor and jumps to the ground. What they did not expect was that Shimada was not dead. He was like a corpse without a soul. Miji transforms into a bow, Shinichi like a marksman. He shoots arrow through Shimada's body. Shimada was knocked down, and fell from the rooftop. Tamaya has now come to see Shinichi. She is ready to give birth to a child, and wants to know what it feels like to be a mother. She gives the address of Mr. A to Shinichi. Their battle to the death has come. At this time, sleepiness had come to Miji. Miji turned into a sharp knife. There is no other way, Shinichi can only fight alone. After being revived, he increased in strength, and quickly gained the upper hand. At this time, Mr. A's power is gradually going down. Suddenly he has an idea to turn back into Shinichi's mother. He called out to Shinichi in a very sweet voice. Shinichi heard his mother's voice. The will to fight and revenge seemed to have lost all. Seeing that, Mr. A approached and immediately unleashed his tentacles. Shinichi didn't have time to react at this point, thinking he was killed. Turns out his mother still had some sense. Her right hand was clutching it. Although his mother's brain was invaded, the instinct to protect her son still existed. Nobuko is able to overcome her parasite's consciousness long enough for Shinichi to safely kill her. When it was all over, Shinichi went back to Satomi's hospital bed. Only then did he understand his mission, which was to avenge the parasite monster that harmed his mother. And destroy all the monsters that harm humans. The beast, who had given a lecture on the street before, Hirakawa finally succeeded in becoming mayor. At this moment appeared a mysterious parasite beast that was talking calmly and maturely. The mission of the parasite was born to eat humans and rule the world. The movie ends here. With the success of Part 1, the film was followed by Part 2 the following year.